Part 3. History. Question number 1. Should everyone knows about history? Well, yes, of course. I think every individual should know a little bit. Not to mention, we have to know a lot about our country's history because knowing about history helps us, I believe, to have a passion in devoting for our country, and also we can learn many different kinds of things. History is one of the best resource for our further and future scientific proof, and it's also the base for almost of everything that we are doing and we are experiencing today. So yeah, each of us have to know a little bit about the world's history and a lot about our countries, our ethnic minority, our ethnic history. Question number 2 is, in what ways can children learn history? Well, children can learn history through many things. They can learn through social media. However, this is not a really reliable source because there are some fake news and something that we cannot verify. So it's not really safe and it is not guaranteed. So the information may be wrong or just we cannot believe in it. So I don't think social media is a good idea to study history because history needs exact accuracy. Another way is through documentaries and films that shows about history. I think this is a kind of reliable source as before it's shown to the public, I think it is verified with a really strict law. So it doesn't really relate to, it doesn't really change the thing that happened in the past, all the events that happened in the past. So yeah, documentaries and films and something like that are really reliable. Lastly, they can learn to references like books and something like that. I believe that is the most reliable source because many books is passed down from the early stages. So the generation before, our older generations, our ancestors have been the one who witnessed those events in the past, those historic events, and write them in a book so that they can pass down to us. So yeah, books are the most reliable source of information. Question number 3. What are the differences between learning history from books and from video? So books is the things, I believe that when we read books, we will let our imaginary fly and we will be able to imagine really well and it improve our imagination. However, reading books cannot give us really enlightening pictures and photos and motions. So yeah, it's not a really good idea to learn through books. However, books have exact accuracy because as I've mentioned, books is written by the ancestor and is passed down to us. So rarely do we see any errors and mistakes in those kind of books. On video, however, we do see some errors, some big errors. However, the photos, the pictures, the motions, and the scenes is often more enlightening and exciting that can really attract us into studying history. So each of them have their own benefits and disadvantages. So I believe that we have to strike a balance between these. Question number 4. Is it difficult to protect and preserve historic buildings? Well, yes, it is. Historic buildings is something that is passed down in the past, from the past, and our ancestors have done many things to finish those historic buildings. So it's really hard because you see, we can take the Cham Towers as an example. So the Cham Tower is made out of rocks that is layered on top of each other by a really mysterious adhesive. And until now, we haven't no not any haven't any scientists have found the exact adhesive that the jam people in the past used to just restore and preserve and protect those historic buildings as they are falling down due to weather and something like that. So it's really hard, and scientists have been like they have studied a lot. However, they haven't found anything. So they just decided to find another alternative that can use instead of those adhesive, and that's when the towel is not like before. It's different. Everything, the mixture that it is made of is totally different from it in the past. So yeah, it's a really challenging challenge for us to just think of a way to restore not only the structure but also the ingredients that have made that historic building. Question number 5: Should who be responsible for protecting historic buildings? Well, firstly we have to talk about the government. The government, they must have the responsibility. They must take the responsibility to protect those historic buildings as it belongs to the country. And the government must be the one to stand out and find a way to protect it. Second, we have to mention the citizens. Citizens are the one who just go there and see them every day. So it is a must for them to mind and take responsibilities towards those kind of historic buildings. They cannot just destroy it by throwing trash and doing some terrible things with those buildings. So they have to have a sense of responsibility for this kind of jobs. And last one, we'll have to talk about tourists. Tourists come to a historic buildings or attraction a lot. So they also have this responsibility to protect and preserve this. Question number 6. Who should pay for the preservation of historic buildings? Well, the government, of course. However, where do they get money? So they get money from taxes. They impose reasonable taxes on the citizens so that they can pay to support the government to preserve the historic buildings. And also, they take money from the tourists because those attractive, those historic buildings really attracts a lot of tourists. So tourists is a good way to save the financial capital for the country and the city to just preserve and protect those historic buildings. So that's what I want to say. Thank you for listening.